everybody, Mike Iaconelli back out here in the shop, and we have another good video for you today. And in today's shop, we're going to be talking about selecting baits for one of the hottest new rigging techniques gone around. And when you talk about new rigging techniques, there's one that is killing them called the free rig. The free rig, where the weight slides freely and gives the bait behind it maximum action. And in today's shop, we're going to be touching on how to select the right baits for that free rig. All right, before we get into selecting the right baits, let me give you a little refresher course on what a free rig is. In fact, if you want to watch the full video on free rigging, just click up there and you could watch the deeper explanation on what it is. But in a nutshell, free rig is a weight that's added to the line first, and that weight is a O-ring style weight. That weight could be a teardrop, it could be a mushroom, it could be a cylinder style, whatever style weight you use, but it has a round O-ring that allows it to slide up and down that line. The next thing that we're going to have on our line in the free rig is a bobber stop. A regular little tiny bobber stop. And that bobber stop is going to act to protect the knot when we're using the free rig to the hook. Or, the great thing about this free rig is we can modify it, push that little bobber stop up, and it helps to create a modified free rig where the weight doesn't get all the way to the hook, okay? So the next component's a bobber stop, and last but not least, your hook. And one of the beauties of that free rig is how easy it is. Guys, these are easy components to find. How easy it is to rig the free rig. But the real key of this free rig is that the bait back here is free. It's free, it's wandering, and that action of that lure not having something tied to it, right? That action of this lure falling free on its own or being drawn to the weight as you pull it, and that freedom of movement of that bait is what makes the free rig special. But this is a shop where we really want to focus on what baits work the best on that free rig. Guys, 100%, you can fish any kind of soft plastic you want on that free rig. But there are certain lure types and categories that will maximize the action of this rig. And that's what we're going to talk about. I really broke these baits down into two sections, but both of them have the same theory. And this is really what I want you to understand. If you remember one thing from this video on picking the right bait for your free rig, remember this, that no matter if it's a bigger power fishing plastic or if it's a smaller, more finesse plastic, we want to select lures for our free rig that have a flat bottom, okay? Lures that have a flat bottom. So important to that freedom of movement of that bait. And I'm going to really describe it more. But when that bait is freely falling to the bottom, following that weight down, even as you're dragging it, when it's pulling up to the point of that weight, we want to have a bait that has a flat bottom because it's going to assist in that free movement of the lure, okay? Let's start with my two selections for when I'm fishing a free rig on a bait caster. And I do that about 50% of the time I'm using these bigger plastics, you know, 4, 5, 6-inch lures, but they have to have that flat bottom. And I'm going to show you in a second how I rig them. My two favorite baits that have a flat bottom that are in this bigger plastic category for power fishing with the free rig are the Berkley Power Bait Mantis Bug. And if you look at the Mantis Bug, it's sort of a creature crawl looking bait. It's got some appendages on the arm. It's got big floppy legs in the back. It's got 2 little kicker legs. But if you look at that Mantis Bug, flat side on the bottom, guys, okay? So Berkley Power Bait Mantis Bug, it's 4 inches. And then my second favorite free rig lure for power fishing a free rig, I almost hate to tell you this because it was a sleeper for me last year, is the good old lizard. This is a 6-inch Berkley Power Bait Power Lizard. But once again, look at the bottom of that lizard. Flat bottom to the lizard, right? So Mantis Bug, 4-inch, flat bottom. Berkley Power Lizard, 6-inch, flat bottom. Perfect lures for power fishing a free rig. So let's just use the Mantis Bug, and I want to rig it and show you why this flat bottom is so important when you're free rigging, okay? So when we're rigging this Mantis Bug or this lizard, anything with the flat bottom, when we rig that, we want to make sure that the flat side is always facing down. You're going to see why that's so important in a second when I show you the action of this bait. So when we're rigging it, guys, I just do a normal Texas rig. Most of the time I'm fishing around some form of cover, so I love the Texas rig. So I'm going to push 1/8 of an inch into the head of the Mantis Bug. I want that point pushing out on the flat side because that's going to become the bottom. I bring it around the bend of that hook, get it around that bend. In this case, it's a 3/0 EWG hook. And then I just finish my Texas rig, making sure that Mantis Bug is nice and straight. Okay, so there you have it rigged. Once again, flat side on the bottom. But this is why this flat side is so important, is because as that bait falls, all right, let's do a standard free rig right now. You make that cast toward that log, the weight hits, the weight's heavy. This is a 3/16 ounce little opened O-ring drop shot style weight. The weight hits, the weight falls down to that log, boom, hits the bottom, and behind it, here's this Mantis Bug falling. And that flat side allows that lure to catch water and glide down. If this lure is just a big round-bodied creature without the flat side, it tends to sort of roll and fall straight down. But because it's got a flat bottom, it catches the water and glides more and aimlessly falls to the bottom until eventually, boom, it settles and hits the bottom. That gliding action, that free movement of that Mantis Bug, you cannot replicate that with any other rigging technique, okay? The best analogy on that flat bottom is like a sled. If you were sledding down a hill, if it snowed and you got your sled and you were going to go sledding down a hill, sleds with a very flat bottom go down smooth and they go down fast. If you try to get on a sled that's round or uneven, doesn't have that same fluidity, that same movement to it. So flat bottom to maximize that fall. Lizard, same way, guys. Flat side down to enhance the freedom of the fall, okay? So two favorite power fishing baits on the free rigging side, Mantis Bug and a lizard with a flat bottom. The interesting thing is free rigging is not just a power fishing technique, it's also a great technique on a spinning rod. Guys, the rig is exactly the same. If you look at it, we got a little bobber stop. We've got that O-ring, circular ring weight. In this case, it's a real light one. This is a 32nd ounce weight. And then we have our more finesse style bait on a spinning rod. It's a great alternative to traditional finesse rigging techniques like a shaky head, like a drop shot, a wacky rig. It's a totally different action. And just like power fishing a free rig, this bait is going to have free movement and a totally different action on the fall and as we pull the bait on the drag toward the weight. Totally different movement that's free and unobstructed by a pegged weight or a jig head, okay? That's the beauty of the free rig. But just like in power fishing, we want to pick soft plastics for our free rig that have a flat bottom. My favorite two more finesse soft plastics for free rigging are a straight tail worm. This one's the Berkley Power Bait Bottom Hopper. It comes in a 4 and a 6-inch version. And if we look at that bottom hopper, it's a regular traditional flat, straight tail worm, but it's got a flat bottom on it, okay? Flat bottom. The other one that I love on a free rig, remember, any plastic you want, this is a 4-inch French fry style bait. This is the Berkley Power Bait Lugworm. And that little lugworm, if you look at it, it's a French fry, but it has a flat bottom. And when we rig that bait, here's the Berkley Power Bait Bottom Hopper rigged. When we Texas rig that bait, I always want that flat side, lugworm, flat side facing down. So when we make that cast, remember, cast near that cover, the weight goes down first. Here comes this bait, and it's just gliding. It's almost gliding down, just this random, free, side-to-side glide. If we're using a bait that is totally round or has too many bulky points to it, it wants to fall and tumble. We want to eliminate that with that flat bottom, and we're going to get that correct movement on the fall, and we're going to get that correct movement as it drags to eventually contact the weight, okay? So on the finesse side on the free rig, finesse worm, basically straight tail worm with a flat bottom, French fry style lure with a flat bottom. It's going to enhance that freedom of movement on the fall. Let me tell you guys, do not sleep on this rigging method. Whether you're a bait casting guy or a spinning guy, whether you're power fishing or finesse fishing, choose the right soft plastic with a flat bottom. Rig it with the flat bottom down, and you're going to get an action and a movement on that soft plastic that you can't get with any other rigging technique. Man, I hope you enjoyed this in the shop, talking about how to select the right baits for free rigging. Give it a try. Go back and look at my full free rigging video if you can, and you're really going to catch fish in places that the fish are stubborn and places where they've seen a drop shot a million times. You're going to get bites that you never got before. Give it a try. Technique called free rigging. It's really going to change the game. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.